Here we are looking at Sasha's foot. On the left is a 1032 screw that's used for rigging. It ties the foot down to the set table. The screw is in the toe plate. We see the toe joint, the ankle joint, and then on the right side is the shin bone. Here we have some 1/4 inch material, 1/4 inch by 1 1/4 inch, I think. It's in the vise on our Grizzly mill. I'm milling off half of the material on the area that has the tang. This needs to be made smaller so that I can fit it into the toe ball. Here I am spotting and drilling in the toe plate. This will be drilled to receive a 1032 tap for 1032 threads for the 1032 bolts that will hold this toe plate, will hold the puppet down on the set. And it's easier to do this while it's in the vise. Turn the material sideways. We're back in the vise again. Now I'm trimming away all the unnecessary material, making that tang smaller, just removing the material to get down to until I have a square tang. The square part is the part that will fit into the ball for the toe plate. Doing one side, cleaning that up. Very handy to have a mill for this. Suppose you could do it with a hacksaw if you had to. Mill makes it nice and easy. Just take off a little bit at a time. I don't really know how many the speeds and feeds necessary for this, so I just take it down a little bit. Doesn't get too hot. Kind of eyeball it. I leave that tang a little bit long so that I can trim it down later. Okay, here is the prototype toe plate with its offset. That offset will make it so that the toe plate sits on the ground a little better. Here is the foot assembly, trying to get the square tang into a round hole. And it doesn't want to go no matter how hard I try. I can't get it. But oh hey, here we are with the magic of editing. I spent a few minutes, put it on the stone wheel and a cutoff wheel, and just by hand ground that material down. Ground it down to 1/8 inch diameter. Put it on a little bevel so that the ball doesn't drop all the way down. I need about 100 thousandths gap so that the top and bottom plates of the joint have room to move. You don't want to force this ball onto that wedge shape. It'll knock it out of round. Once it gets out of round, then it won't move smooth. Okay, the material is in the vise, testing it to make sure it fits. Don't want to jam that on there. Putting on some flux. The flux melts into a liquid and will keep oxygen from oxidizing or rusting the material between the ball and the tang. Cut some grooves in that material so that when I heat it up, it only heats up the toe plate and not all of it. Put a little piece of solder in there, solder braze. Use that as a temperature gauge. Heating this up with 3700 degree MAP gas, boiling water out of the flux. And then the flux will go through its various stages as it melts. The powder in that flux melts. When it gets hot enough, you can see right there the braze, the solder melting down in there. You can actually watch it flow down. In real life, it doesn't glow this white hot. The camera just makes it look that way because of the way the camera works. Making sure that that's completely, that it's cool enough not to fall off before I take it out. Dip it into some water. Here we see the hideous fire scale, the rust that's on that steel ball. I think that steel's probably 17.4 stainless. The toe plate is just mild steel you get from the Home Depot store. Spend a few minutes on the wire brush. Just clean that up. All that scale cleans up nicely. Off camera, I trimmed off the rest of the material and shaped it a bit on the stone wheel so that the toe plate is more toe shaped. Now I'm testing the ball to make sure it's still round. After all of that heating, there's possible that it's not round anymore. So just putting it through its paces, make sure that it behaves so that when it goes on set, it behaves for the animator as well. Want that to work nice and smooth. If there are any problems at this point, I would put some lapping compound on that and just run it around a little bit and try to make sure that it's round.